Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about conditional sentences today. So there are actually 4 types of sentences. We call them type 0, type 1, type 2, and type 3. Okay, don't worry, I'll explain what they are later. But all you need to remember is that conditional sentence, the function of a conditional sentence is to give a condition, make an imagination, and to propose a situation, and then we'll see what happened if that situation, if that condition happens. Okay, so there must be 2 parts of a conditional sentence. The first part is an if clause. Okay, the condition, if this condition happen, and then the main clause, what will be resulted. Okay, so with the condition, what will happen? So this is conditional sentence. Okay, so there are 2 parts, if part, if clause, and the main part is the result. Okay, so there are actually 4 types, but we actually don't look at it separately. Okay, we group them together. Type 0 is one part. Type 1 and type 2, they're actually one thing, but 2 different situations. I'll explain later. And then type 3 is another one. In examination, we are not going to cover this in UT. Don't worry, okay? You will be only asked to understand type 0, type 1, and type 2 conditional sentence only. But I want to still teach you first so that you have a full picture what conditional sentence is. And you will have to learn it in grade 9 anyway, okay? So basically, if you look at the example, it's very, very easy actually. You actually use it a lot in your writing already, but sometimes you may not use it correctly because of the tenses. So let me clarify it today, okay? So when we use type 0 conditional sentence, we normally talk about some facts, some conventional truths, some laws, okay? It's just like simple present tense, okay? For example, take a look at this example. If it is 100 degrees Celsius, okay, if it is, we use simple present tense, water boils. Well, this one is a fact, okay, if it's 100 degrees Celsius, it boils, okay, it's a truth, okay, it's a scientific knowledge, so it won't change, okay? For example, another one, if he cuts his finger, it bleeds. Well, of course, you're human, you bleed, okay? So these will not change. And so we use present tense in both the if clause and also in the main clause, okay? If it is 100 degrees Celsius, water boils. So it's present tense, present tense. If he cuts his finger, it bleeds. Present tense, present tense. Okay? So type 0 is the first one. It talks about facts and some scientific knowledge, some laws, some truth. Okay? This is type 0. Okay, what about type 1 and type 2? Sometimes we'll give some condition and then we'll try to estimate what will happen if that condition appears, okay? So there are things that have not yet happened. Not yet happened, okay? We're predicting, we're giving a condition and we'll guess what will happen if this condition is met, okay? But what is the difference between type 1 and type 2? For type 1 conditional sentence, it hasn't happened, but very likely it will happen. But for type 2, it hasn't happened yet, but it's not likely to happen. It's pretty impossible. So this is the difference between type 1 and type 2. Let's take a look at the example, okay? If it rains tomorrow, well, maybe the weather forecast says that it is gonna rain. So if it rains tomorrow, very likely, we will not go hiking. We'll do something else, okay? So this is type 1. Not yet happened, tomorrow, okay? Not yet happened, but very likely to happen. Take a look at the second example. If you don't wake up now, you will be late for school. Well, this is obvious. You're already late. You don't have enough time to take a bus, take the MTR back to school. You must be late. So this is very possible if you don't do this condition now. All right, so this is things that haven't happened, but very likely. This is type 1. And we use simple present tense in the if clause. If it rains, if you don't wake up. And then we will use future tense in the result. We will not go hiking. You will be late. Okay? Present tense and future tense. Type 1. What about type 2? Well, for type 2, things haven't yet happened, but not likely. It's pretty impossible. For example, if I were you, well, I won't be you. Okay? It's never gonna be possible. So it's impossible. So I use past tense. If I were you, I would go home now. And we'll use would, bare infinitive. Basically, it's the past tense of will, okay? I would go home now if I were you. So, but then the point is, I'm not you. So it's just an advice and I'm not going home. Also, another example, if she didn't revise, she would fail the UT. But maybe she's a very hardworking person. It's very unlikely that she wouldn't have revised. So we use past tense here. It is not because it's a past event. No, it's not because it's a past event. We use past tense here only to distinguish type 1 and type 2, whether it's possible or impossible to happen. But it has nothing related to tenses, okay? Nothing related to tenses, okay? So remember, if things haven't yet happened, but it's very possible to happen, we use type 1. We use present tense in the if clause and future tense in the main clause. But if things that have not yet happened and is not likely to happen, very impossible, then we'll use past tense in the if clause and would plus bare infinitive, means no es, no ing, no ed, no change, okay? The basic verb, would, bare infinitive in the main clause, okay? So these are type 0, 1, and 2. You only need to know these three tenses. Three types of conditional sentences in UT. Okay, if it's already very complicated, you better stop watching the video here and then rewatch it and then try to understand and look at the examples again. I'll give you more exercise later, okay? But for those who actually understand what I'm talking about and want to know a little bit more, let's continue. Okay, type 3. So type 3 is different from type 1 and 2 because type 3, the things have happened already. But the point is you're imagining if there's a different condition, will the result be different? You're imagining a different ending if you don't do that or you do the action. That is opposite to what you have done in reality. Okay? So this one is a past event already. You have already done it, but you're suggesting if you don't do it or you do it, will it be different? Okay, so you're suggesting another possible situation. You're imagining a different ending. And what tense do we use? Take a look at examples first, okay? If Peter had practiced more. So if we say this, it means that he actually didn't practice enough. Okay, in reality, what he has done, he hasn't practiced enough. But if he had practiced more, he would have won the competition. But in reality, he actually didn't win. Okay? It's just that if we imagine he had practiced more, the result will be different. Okay? And we'll use past perfect tense. Remember, it's past perfect tense, very specific, not present perfect, past perfect. We use had plus PP. Had plus PP, past participle. And if Peter had practiced more, he would have won. So in the main clause, we'll use would, and then have, and then PP. Alright? It's very fixed, the tense, okay? Don't use the wrong tense in type 3. It must be past perfect tense and would have PP. Alright, take a look at another example. You can use negative too. If you hadn't come on time, but in reality is you had come on time, okay, you did, you came on time. You would have missed the show, or if you hadn't come on time, you would have missed the show. But because you didn't miss it, well, you didn't miss it. You came on time and you didn't miss it. All right, so you're imagining an opposite result if you didn't do certain thing or you did certain things, okay, in the past. So we use past perfect tense. Hadn't come, PP. Would have missed, would have PP. All right. So basically, or sometimes when we regret doing something, we'll use type 3. Okay. Oh, if Peter had practiced more, he would have won, but he didn't. So he actually regretted. So this is type 3 conditional sentence. Okay. Things that happen already. It's just that you're imagining a different ending. All right. So these are basically 4 types of conditional sentence that you need to know. That's it. 4 types that you need to know in your whole life. But always remember, there must be an if clause, one part, and then main clause, another part. And then there will be different combination of tenses, okay, in the verb to show different types of conditional sentence. Okay, but it has no relationship with the time of the event. Okay, the things haven't happened. These things haven't happened, but we'll use past tense because we want to show it is a type 2 conditional. We'll use future tense to show that it's a type 1 conditional. Okay, so the tenses has no meaning. It's just to identify different conditional sentence. And remember the combination: present tense, type 0. Present tense, future tense, type 1. Past tense would bear infinitive, type 2. Past perfect tense would have PP, type 3. Alright, so basically this is a summary of conditional sentence grammar revision. If you want to know more, if you still don't understand, please talk to me, okay? And work hard for your UT. See you guys later. Bye.